It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening or watching. Hope you're doing all right. Today's show, she's being brought to you in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria, an Italian restaurant located on beautiful St. Simons Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's to get a decent slice of pizza. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Gawk Box. What is it? I don't know. Check it out. I know one thing. I know it can save you some money, and I know it can get you some stuff for free. And I know it can help us out. So what's better than a two-way street? Check out our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Gawk Box banner. And today's show is being brought to us in part by, you guessed it, my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy of it right now by visiting Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com. Find out why we got a 5-star rating across the board. And if you're looking to get a signed copy, don't worry about it. Just visit the website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. It's right there on the front page. So glad to see that. I'll give a shout-out since we're simulcasting now on Facebook, and give it a shout-out to my man Corey, who just said good morning on Facebook. Now, you guys are a couple of seconds behind us. And don't forget, if you are watching on the Facebook live feed, if you want to get the full video version, come on over to our YouTube channel, or just go to BillyCBoxing.com and get the same version of the show that goes out to the television networks, and then some. So, but hey, if you like watching on Facebook, that's cool too. And by the way, we have our official chat room is up on BillyCBoxing.com, and there's always some great guys in there, like there are right now, so you can check that out. Coming up on the show, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. You always wonder about Bob Arum. Bob Arum, ever since he said, no, I was lying yesterday, but today I'm telling you the truth. It's kind of hard to believe a guy like that, but we got some news about him. He's saying some more stuff about Jeff Horn. I think it's just some promotion propaganda. I want to talk a little about the World Boxing Super Series for the cruiserweights. But first, I want to start off my topic today. Is Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, I got to admit, now, before you change the channel, I just want to say this. At one point, I was a huge Tyson Fury fan. I really was. I started, we used to have a correspondent involved with the show from England, and he hooked me up he turned me on, I should say, to Tyson Fury. And I followed Tyson Fury's career from probably his second or third professional fight, and I've watched them all, and I like Tyson Fury. I thought he was funny, I thought he was talented, but I, like many other people, think he, totally went off the deep end. And, he wants to make a comeback. He's calling out Anthony Joshua. He's saying all the right things. He wants to fight the best fights. He wants to make some big bucks is what he wants. But his latest comment has me convinced that he's still out there, that he's still, let's just say, mentally challenged, okay? Tyson Fury has officially picked Conor McGregor to beat Floyd Mayweather. Now, whether you're buying this fight for the entertainment factor, which it's not going to be too entertaining, whether you're buying the fight because you are praying that somehow Conor McGregor lands a lucky shot and knocks out Floyd, or if you're buying the fight because you're a Floyd fan and you just want to see him school McGregor, which he's going to do, I think it's safe to say that anyone with a reasonable mind is not giving Conor McGregor anything more than a lucky, maybe Floyd trips over his stool and knocks himself out. I don't know. But that's about as close it's going to get. But Tyson Fury officially picking Conor McGregor. Joining me right now from St. Simon's. I want to get his thoughts. My man, Sal Rocky Senecola. Tyson Fury picking Conor McGregor. I guess he's still a nutcase, huh?
I guess so. Boy, I'll tell you, he went off the deep end, definitely, with this one. Unless, hey, maybe putting $1,000 down, what is the odds? So, maybe he wants a long shot return. That's the only way I would bet on Conor McGregor. But because, like you said, he's not going to have any chance except a puncher's lucky bull charging, wading through, trapping you in a corner, throwing you in a corner. I don't see this being much of a contest at all.
No, I mean it's
entertainment, and that's it. And you said it best, Billy. Just when your introduction, you said it best. It's going to draw the fans from Mayweather, just wanting to see their guy do a great, masterful job, and that's what he's going to do. Well, he's going to carve him up. He's going to serve him. He's going to carve him up, and he's going to put him right on a platter for his 50th win.
Yeah, that's the part that bothers me.
I
hate talking about the fight. I hate it because everyone that knows me and knows what I do, that's all they're talking about is the fight. What do you think? Everyone agrees that it's not going to be competitive, but but then there's always how a fighter says, I don't want to make an excuse, but, and then you're like, oh God, here comes the excuse. It's the same thing I get from the fans. They go, oh, no. The fight's not going to be worth anything. Mayweather's going to beat him. But, if Conor lands a lucky punch, I'm like, oh, man. That's the hook, Sal. That's the hook. That's the hook.
You're right.
No, but that's the hook why people are going to buy it. Because there's the what if factor. Like I read from that article last week from a female writer for the ESPNW, I believe her name is Sarah Spain, and how she wrote, she said, there's no way that she made a statement, and it's not word for word, but she made a statement basically said that everyone that buys this pay-per-view will be disappointed after it's over because they didn't get their money's worth. And you know what, Sal? I agree with that 100%. I don't think there's going to be anyone except for Floyd, because Floyd, and you know what? Conor McGregor and Floyd will be happy regardless of the result, because they're both going to be in excess of $100 million richer. So I'm sure they're not going to care. And then that's another part of this that bothers me, because Floyd Mayweather, once again, is fleecing his own fans. But it is what it is. And, as an exhibition, I love it. It is a curiosity factor. But as a 50th win, Sal, like you just said, that's the part that bothers me. That's the only part, honestly, that bothers me.
Me too. I'm with you 100%, Bill, especially in his mind, how he's putting that 50th win, the all-time greatest, undefeated world champion. Now he's going to retire afterwards. It's so funny because now Pacquiao, I saw it on ESPN, is spewing he wants Mayweather after he gets past Horn. You know what? It's comical. It really is. It's thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
Well, I tell you, I think I don't think Mayweather is going to fight anymore. He's already copywritten 50-0 and stuff, and I think he's going to, brag about that. I don't think he's going to fight Pacquiao, and the reason is Pacquiao. Even though I know you feel that Mayweather would beat Pacquiao 99 out of 100 times if they fought,
yes,
and Mayweather normally doesn't give rematches; he's only give 2 in his whole career. But the truth of the matter is Manny Pacquiao poses some type of threat to Floyd. Now I'm not saying he would beat him, but Manny still is dangerous, and they're both he is. I mean, and it would be a real fight. The fight that he's having against Conor McGregor is not a real fight. Against Manny Pacquiao, even a one-armed, one-shouldered Manny Pacquiao is still more of a challenge to Floyd than Conor McGregor, and that in itself will prevent Floyd from fighting him. Now, it's funny you say that Manny Pacquiao is spewing that he wants him again. They republished an article on ESPN about the rematch, about the possibility of a rematch, and it goes back to when Manny Pacquiao beat Jesse Vargas for the WBO world title. And him and Floyd were very friendly to each other. Even Bob Arum and Floyd were friendly to each other. And Bob Arum said, I think there's going to be a rematch. But his thought process was the rematch was going to be now, instead of Manny fighting Jeff Horn and instead of Mayweather fighting Conor McGregor. And I think that if it would have been a rematch, I think that more people would have been receptive, even though most people say they don't want to see it again. But I think it would have been much better, and I still believe that it would have gotten both guys $100 million. What do you think?
I think you're 100% right. $100 million right. And I'm telling you right now, that would have been a great fight. And that night we saw the first fight. I said in my to you and John that I will never watch a rematch or a second fight because I was so disappointed on how that one went. But, time goes, and, I would be interested in watching the second fight if they were to get together. But it's already past the point. It would have been ideal if it was this time.
But here's the difference, Sal.
The difference.
Pacquiao, since that fight, beat Timothy Bradley, who's a pound-for-pound fighter, and he beat Jesse Vargas, who I admit is not a pound for pound fighter, but it still was a title fight. He was a title holder. So Manny Pacquiao at least accomplished something that Floyd didn't. Floyd hasn't beaten, aside from Manny. What top fighter has Floyd fought in his prime? Well, you know what? You can't even say that. And to defend Floyd, you can't say it because Floyd's not in his prime. A lot of people give Floyd a hard time about fighting Manny when he was 38 years old or whatever, but Floyd is older than Manny. So it is what it is, right?
It is what it is, Bill. It's so true. And like I said, I think Floyd, in his own right, he will go down in history books as being a fabulous fighter. Not, in my opinion, not the all-time greatest, but he'll definitely be having to take his spot in his place, and Manny Pacquiao will as well. They're both Hall of Famers. They're both world class, and they're both going to get their just dessert and their rewards.
I want some dessert. What do you got? What do you got for dessert?
What dessert? We're gonna serve a cheese cake. We're gonna serve a nice cannoli. We're gonna have a tiramisu.
Tiramisu.
That was my old girlfriend.
You need more coffee.
My heart.
You need more coffee. We're gonna take a short break. When I come back, I got kind of some sad news that I want to. Ruin everybody's day with. But
thank you very much.
We got some sad news to talk about, but after that, we'll move that along. But Sal, you go get some coffee. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could join us today. And speaking of joining us, with me right now is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And we got some sad news, Sal. It was reported yesterday that Rafael Chavez Gonzalez, who was the brother of Julio Cesar Chavez, was killed in his home yesterday in Mexico. Apparently, it was a home invasion. Two guys entered his house and demanded money. One guy had a gun. They handed some of the money over. And apparently Rafael Chavez Gonzalez said, that's all we had. They said they want more. Chavez said, that's it. That's all I have. And they shot him. And apparently he was shot right in front of his family. And 10 guys came in. And there was another another thing that happened over the night, that 10 armed guys kidnapped a bunch of people from a restaurant in the same area, and one victim had been released. The restaurant was a political, or I should say, a place that a lot of politicians like to frequent. So some sad news taking place in Mexico. So our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to Julio Cesar Chavez and his family. I mean, some sad stuff, huh, Sal?
Oh yeah, that's pretty horrible. I'm so sorry to hear that, and my condolences, as you say. Boy,
yeah, it's what a violent, people coming in and home invasion. I mean, listen, I have Rottweilers, and not that they would, stop a bullet. I mean, they're not Superman Rottweilers, but at least they could give you a warning.
They give you a little alarm,
any
a little
dog,
warning,
any dog.
anything.
I mean, and I'm glad I live in an area that this kind of stuff isn't too common. And speaking of where I live, did you see on the news where the kid was hanging from a gondola ride at a park, and they dropped the 14-year-old. That was here. That was here. That happened in Lake George. That was at the Great Escape. Yeah, there was a 14-year-old kid. She was hanging, and a bunch of people gathered around, and they said, "Go ahead, jump, we'll catch you." And they did. The big question about that is, you could see a young kid falling through. I mean, they chain you into this thing, but this girl was 14. It's kind of seems kind of weird, but they shut the ride down, brother.
Man, I'll tell you what, that's scary, and I didn't realize it was in your backyard. But thank God that had a happy ending. Man, oh man, that could have went bad fast.
Oh yeah, well, you don't know. The lawsuits are just starting now. So I don't know how happy of an ending or which side is going to be happy.
Which side is going to be happy? Yeah, but I mean, the girl was okay though, right?
Oh yeah, no injuries. Her brother's trying to say that she was hanging by her neck, and then he released her, and then she was hanging by her hand, and was losing the strength of her hand when people gathered and caught her. And you hear her father.
Let me ask you this, Bill. Why would she even drop instead of just wait until it was the ride was fixed and could travel again? What's going on?
Wait a minute. What is she going to do? First of all, they stopped the gondola. All right, so the gondola was stopped, so she's hanging from it. So I mean, just to hang on until they get to the end. I mean, come on. I mean, you try hanging.
Did she just want to be adventurous and travel outside the gondola instead of inside it? I don't understand. Well, this is what we have to find out. There's a lot of research here, Bill.
That's the whole point. The whole point is, how did it happen? I mean, you're in a seat. It's like not like an enclosed ski gondola where you're in a like some type of box. This thing is a chair, almost like a chairlift, and you're seat belted in there. So unless you climb out, so a little kid you could see.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I've been in many chairlifts and many gondolas and things like that and rides, and I know when I always. Well, I'm not going to comment. Forget about it.
No, I mean. It is what it is.
I don't want to put my foot in my mouth.
Anyway,
I stay where I'm supposed to be, okay, till the ride's over.
Right. Well, most people do, But anyway, remember how I was saying earlier, you never can trust Bob Arum. And ever since he said, no, I was lying yesterday, but today I'm telling you the truth. He's at it again. And Bob Arum said that, despite what takes place this weekend from the land down under between Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, he says that because so many people here in the States are going to see Jeff Horn, that whether he wins, loses, or draws, as long as he looks decent, he's going to be real famous. He's going to become a major star, was his exact words. He said, and I quote, "If Jeff Horn win, lose, or performs as well as I think he will, he's going to end up being a major star in the United States because so many eyeballs will have seen him." He says, "I really believe that Jeff Horn will give an outstanding account of himself. This is a great, great, great opportunity. The fight will be shown free to the American public on ESPN, the largest sport network in the world. ESPN is going all out to promote the event. We're looking forward to an audience as large as 10 million people in the United States, and most likely larger. It will dwarf anything Manny Pacquiao has done in the United States in the 15 or 16 years he's been fighting." I think that part of it may be true. Free TV, I think they're going to get a large audience. Oh, yeah. And people will know, because I got news for you right now, Sal. Not many people know who the hell Jeff Horn is right now.
Yeah, I understand that. And let me tell you, you said it best yesterday. This is a win-win for Jeff Horn. It really is.
No doubt.
No matter what.
No, it's definitely a win-win for him. I mean, there's no. The only thing that the only way that he would not benefit from this is if Manny Pacquiao destroys him in 30 seconds.
One round.
Yeah, 30 seconds of one round,
Exactly.
But anyway, who knows? Who knows? We'll wait and see. But at least he's got a pulse, and at least he's been boxing for 16 professional fights. So we'll have to see what happens. One other thing I wanted to mention real quick is it was announced yesterday that Dmitry Kudazov, who's got a record of 21 wins, 1 loss, with all of his wins coming by knockout, will be added to the World Boxing Super Series that will be showcasing cruiserweights. So he's joined some other pretty talented cruiserweights, Maris Briedis, Junior Dorticos, who I like. I like all of these guys, but Murat Gaziov, Christoph Lodzarek, to name a few. These are guys that are in the cruiserweight division. And this is a division, Sal, that I hope that this tournament helps, because the cruiserweight division, although it's very popular outside the United States, it's not so popular here in the States. And I can't put my finger on the reason why. The truth of the matter is you got 200-pound guys fighting each other. And for all intent purposes, Sal, this was the heavyweight division up until about 20 years ago. I mean, if you go back in time, even one of my favorite fighters of all time, Jack Johnson, was considered a monster when he fought. Everything you ever read about him, and even if you see the footage and photos of him fighting his opponents, he was way bigger. And at best, he weighed 215 pounds. Wow. So cruiserweight division technically could be a very hot division. Guys in shape, weighing 200 pounds, the knockout power, plus they generally have hand speed and stuff. I love the cruiserweight division. What's your thoughts?
I never bit down onto the cruiserweight division. I don't know why. Maybe I'm representing some of the public here. I respect it. I understand it. And you know what? When you look at even the cruiserweight limit, which I believe was 200 pounds.
Yeah.
You're looking at one of the largest corridors or separations between two weight classes in boxing. You're looking at 175 pounds light heavyweight to 200 pounds. That's 25 pounds. There's no other weight class divided up the way they are, 4 to 6 pounds every weight class. So I understand it, and it definitely has a place in boxing, and I respect it. But I think you look at the legacy of all the great champions and all we have looked and endured with boxing, starting back in the 1800s. And, the heavyweight division was the most spectacular, most coveted world title belt that you could want to achieve or attain or respect. And it was recognizable. And, you had light heavyweight and heavyweight. Then comes up the cruiserweight, and it needed some exciting fighters, and which it does have. And it just never really took off in the United States the way it has across the world, I believe. I don't know why, Bill. I don't know why.
Well, listen to this. Listen to this. I mean, the reason why I agree. I mean, it hasn't taken off in the United States, but I don't get it. And here's the reason why. They have a place up here in Lake George called Fort William Henry. And basically there were 2 forts on either end of the lake, and this area was extremely populated, back by French and Indian Wars and the Revolution and prior to that. And it's, a museum. You could go through it, and you could see the uniforms of the soldiers that used to guard this thing, the British soldiers. And when you see the uniforms, the actual uniforms from that era, they look like Oompa Loompas would have fit in them. I mean, the jail cells. I have to crouch to get in. And I'm short. You would have been a big guy back then. So my point is that we were smaller. Even Jack Dempsey, he didn't even weigh 200 pounds. Rocky Marciano never weighed more than 189 pounds. These are guys that are smaller than the cruiserweight. So just the word heavyweight, I get it. And us as human beings, now we're getting 6'7", 250-pound men that are chiseled muscle. Football players, 320 pounds that can run a 40-yard dash like Flash used to. It's amazing, right?
Yes.
But still, if you're looking for action and knockout power and all of that, you get it with the cruiserweights. But hey, Sal, you know these damn commercial breaks. Hold that thought, because I still want to talk a little about the cruiserweight division. So
Yes.
we will take a short break, and we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And just before I went to break, we were talking about the cruiserweight division, Sal. And the truth of the matter is that we've, like I said, we've gotten bigger, and as a humanity, humans have basically gotten bigger and stronger, and based on workout techniques, nutrition, etc. And, most boxing fans complain about lack of action in the sport. I mean, some people will say, it's the sweet science, which makes me sick. But at the end of the day, the fights you remember are the action-packed fights. And although we were treated to a fantastic heavyweight fight recently between AJ and Klitschko, I think that the cruiserweight division could be that missing link to really give us an opportunity to see the big guys going at it, when you're not just seeing one side of it being nice and chiseled and the other guy being a roly-poly fat bastard. You know what I mean?
You got a good point. It's a good weight class. I see it, and I think it does have its place. And like I said, it's one of the only weight classes that you do have that 25-pound limit exceeding, to heavyweight from light heavyweight. And so I like that. It's a buffer, and certainly the athletes today are bigger and stronger on a lot of levels. And, when you look back at all the world champions, most of them were under 220 pounds, more like 185 pounds, 180 pounds. From Rocky Marciano, Joe Louis, all these other guys. They usually kept lean and trim, and they were smaller guys compared to today's heavyweights. They would have been perfect cruiserweights. But it's not the glamorous division for whatever reason. It's not the glamorous division.
But I'm saying it could. I'm saying it could be. They could market. I mean, think of this: Mike Tyson in his prime and at his best, most vicious, was 211 pounds. I mean, theoretically, Tyson could have been fighting in the cruiserweight division. I mean, theoretically, he probably could have lost 11 pounds somewhere.
He probably could have, but that's the whole thing. Why? Because heavyweight division is still recognized throughout the world as the most glamorous division in sports history of sports. The heavyweight champion of the world.
You're right. No, you're right. Well, wait a minute. When we were kids, the heavyweight, if you're playing King of the Mountain or something and you win, you raise your hands and what do you say? I'm the heavyweight champion of the world, but now there's so many then the guy next to goes, oh, wait a minute, I'm the middleweight champion of the world. The other one says, I'm the interim champion. And the other one says, wait, I wasn't allowed to play today, so I'm the champion in recess. I mean, oh my God. The playgrounds today is one confusing group, But the thing is that we could have the heavyweight division really hasn't been too exciting. I mean, they say how the heavyweight division goes, so goes boxing, and with the exception of AJ and Klitschko, I mean, we haven't seen many exciting fights. I mean, AJ has brought some excitement to the heavyweight division. Deontay Wilder. You can make an argument that he's brought some excitement because he knocks out the slugs and bums that they put in front of him, but he hasn't fought anybody substantial, not yet, and I don't think he ever will, but I don't know. I mean, it's good to have multiple divisions that are hot and exciting. I mean, listen, I say this all the time, and I don't, it has nothing to do with Floyd Mayweather, but I always use this analogy. When you think of great fighters, and this has been my argument about Floyd Mayweather, and people will say Floyd Mayweather is a great defensive fighter, which he is. He's a future Hall of Famer, which he is. First ballot, no question. Possibly, you could make a case for, him or maybe one or two other fighters that were the best of his generation, no doubt, okay? But what I always use as an example, here comes that but. But what I always use what I always use as an example, Sal, is you go back in time and you think of a fighter and you mention a name. You say Roberto Duran. You could say Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Jack Dempsey, Mike Tyson, even Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Rocky Marciano, Hagler, right? And you mention a name, Tommy Hearns. You mention those names. And if you do it one at a time and you tell the boxing fan to close their eye, an immediate image of the fighter and the specific fight. If you said to me, Hagler, I would immediately, the first fight that comes to my mind is Tommy Hearns versus Marvin Hagler. If you say Mike Tyson, the first fight that pops into my mind is him knocking out Trevor Berbick. If you say Rocky Marciano, I mean, Jersey Joe Walcott, when he knocks his face and it looks like an alien, comes to mind. Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta pops into my head. I mean, all these great fights, right? Now you say Floyd Mayweather, it's like, wait a minute. I think of Floyd Mayweather. I think of an undefeated fighter. I think of a fighter that's made a lot of money. But I don't think of any exciting fights because the man has not been in any exciting fights. Not at least for a decade. The first fight that pops in my mind is the one that you said you never want to watch again. And that was him against Pacquiao.
And I was going to say the very same. The only fight that comes to mind when I think of Mayweather is the Manny Pacquiao fight. And Mayweather fought a masterful fight that night. He just totally outboxed him, didn't engage anything that Manny had to offer, and totally dominated that fight. And that's why his style alone, I will see and say 100 times that out of 100 fights, he'll win 99 of those fights. Against Manny Pacquiao.
Well, I mean, if he engaged, I know.
Bill, you know what? When you look at, and I understand it, it's safety first, especially today when you're looking at all the head injuries and the brain trauma and things that are happening MMA, in boxing, in football. I mean, when we were younger, we never thought about that. We just went in balls to the walls and boom, we were going to fight and we were going to prove it was macho to take a heavy punch. We could take it. We could take it. And I can understand today's mindset and mentality. Maybe we could take it, but why bother? Is some of the mindset, some of the mentality, some of the direction that I would assume that Floyd Mayweather has looked at and taken it and said, hey, I could probably trade, I could probably take some punishment, I could probably take a good shot, but why bother when I'm graced with the skill and that God gave me, that I could evade punches, I could avoid punches, I could slip, I could roll, and I could still outpoint and win and hit and not be hit. So I get it, and I respect it. It's just a different generation, a different mindset. We were like, hey, hit me, I could take it all, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit you. We bit that bullet. And a lot of my peers and a lot of people are suffering today from that mindset, that mentality. It's a different era.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with. Listen, I agree with Floyd, and Sal's going. Did you? Who's on the line?
I was just going to say, wait a minute, let me have another. Should I put scotch on my coffee?
I know. What's he drinking? But no, what I do agree with Floyd is, and I know this goes kind of against what you said. I mean, listen, nobody should want to go in there and take a beating. I mean, you do want to avoid the punches, and I respect Floyd for fighting defensive first. But the difference is, and I can't stand it when people start telling me, "Oh, Billy C, that's the sweet science, hit and not get hit," but they leave out the most important part of that definition. The definition of the sweet science is hit and not get hit, but still be in position to inflict damage on your opponent. Hit and not get hit, the way Floyd does it, is he avoids the punch and then he's across the ring. So, yeah, he can't get hit, but he can't hit his opponent either. He's not standing in the pocket. Believe it or not, a young Adrian Broner at lightweight was a guy that you couldn't hit and then was still in the pocket to inflict damage. Terrence Crawford is a great example of a fighter today who can, avoid a punch and hit you while he's in the pocket. Guillermo Rigondeaux is probably one of the best. You can't even hit the guy. He's standing 3 feet from you. You can't even hit him, and he's landing punches. That's the definition of the sweet science, Sal.
No, and I agree with you. I love Lomachenko for that reason, too. Even though he does get hit a little more than the other guys, he still avoids punches, and he's always in the pocket and turning in a position to turn on the offense. So you definitely make a good case, and I agree with you. That is the sweet science to the max.
Yeah, no doubt. One thing I wanted to just add about the this World Series, this World Boxing Super Series with the cruiserweights, and they're also doing a super middleweight one too. But July 8th, next week already.
I can't believe it.
I know. Will be the draft. And the way they're going to do a draft, they're going to set up this bracket, right? And the way they're going to do this draft is kind of weird. Apparently, the top seeds, they're going to base the seeds, the board are going to seed the fighters that are involved in the tournament. And the top seeds, I don't know if it's the first four, I believe it's the first four, will get to choose their opponents. So the top 4 seed guys obviously won't have to face each other, but then they get to pick who they're going to fight in the first round. And then after that, it's a bracket-style tournament, and, you win, you move on. What's your thoughts on that with the, after they seed them, based on whatever criteria they're going to use, record, performance, et cetera, how do you feel? I mean, it reminds me in gym class when, we used to play target ball, or that's what we called it. They changed it to something else, but, or any team, and you get chose as a captain. Now you're looking at all the guys in the gym class, and now you pick, who's the best one, who's this. That's got to be the same kind of mentality. I mean, what's your thoughts? You're a former professional fighter. If you were involved in a tournament and you had a look at all the opponents, and you know them all because they're your peers. You've seen them fight. You know who they are. It's not like you never heard of these
class,
guys.
I got my eye on them all the time.
Right. So I mean, who do you go for? Do you think ahead? I mean, me as a I've been a coach in sports, baseball, football. And one of the things I learned early on in my coaching career was not to play for tomorrow's game. Always play today's game. Worry about tomorrow's game tomorrow. Is that the same mindset that you would have to take when you pick a fighter? Are you going to pick the one that you can beat or the easiest one? I mean, what would you do, Sal?
Let me ask you this. I mean, they're actually getting an opportunity to pick who they want to fight, or no? That's the way the seed's going to go, and then the brackets, correct?
No. Well, they're going to set up a bracket, but the brackets start with the main guys that are going to be the top seeds. So if there's four main guys, they'll have four brackets or two main guys, however they're going to do it.
They'll fight lesser guys and all that elimination. Next round they go on against the other guys. It gets more difficult or better competition as they get closer to the end.
But what I'm saying is, like now, in a bracket, like let's say for March Madness, the teams all get rated and they get put in a bracket. Then they move on. And you're right, the least the worst team plays the best team, so on and so forth. But the way this is going to work, the bracket may be similar, but the top seeds that will be chosen by the committee, they get to pick their opponent.
Wow.
The guys that are in the top seed.
Wow.
So let's say, my question to you, Sal, is let's say you're one of the 2 or 4 top seeded guys. Now you're looking at 6 other guys, 8 other guys, and you got to pick your first opponent. What's your mindset?
My mindset is, wow, I don't understand how I get to choose and pick my opponent. And of course, I'm going to look at what opponent is available that I can choose to fight, that I'm going to want to look good and also come out with my hand raised and knock out or so. And if I could choose one, I'm gonna choose one of the best, because I really have my eyes on I want to preserve my body, myself, not get too injured, because I want to preserve my fight for the finals when I can knock out the best out there. That's my goal, my end goal. But reminiscent to when I was wrestling in high school, or the Golden Glove state championships, or the AAU state championships, things like that, and national titles and things like that I fought in. We always had an eye on, well, who's out there we're going to fight? Who's out there we want to fight? Whether it was Johnny Bumpus, when it was this, when it was that. And we would look at who we were going to fight then first and get past that fight and then go on, whether it was Golden Gloves, whether it was a national title. And so this is reminiscent. Same thing with wrestling. When I wrestled in high school and I went to the state championships, we had to look at who we were going to wrestle in the districts, who we were going to wrestle in the regions. And we knew it was tough out there. We didn't get to choose who we were going to wrestle. We just knew we were wrestling the lesser opponents early on when we were seeded, because we were seeded.
Right.
So I would want to
standing.
Preserve myself.
You were
seated
seated versus standing, right? You were seated versus standing. You were seated versus.
I'm seated right now. As a matter of fact, I'm telling you this.
But what about this?
My Ronnie Reagan. Well, there you go again.
What about this, Sal? What about I mean, that's the logical answer. You as a fighter, you want to get that first win. You want to advance, so you're going to pick the guy you think that you would have the easiest time with. And just like when you're in school and you're waiting on that line, you don't want to be the last one picked. You don't want to be the guy that says, oh, God, all right, you go with the red team. It's like, oh, man, we're stuck with him again. I mean, you don't want to be that guy. So now what kind of motivation is going on in a fighter's mind when you are a top seed and you pick me as your first fighter? And I'm saying to myself, what? This guy thinks I'm the worst one here? I would think that my motivation, that you just fired up a guy, because let's keep in mind, all these guys are good. You're not looking at Butterbean as one of the guys and Ray Mercer as another. And you pick Butterbean. I mean, they're all quality fighters. But I would think that you in your mindset picking who you think might be your easiest opponent for your first fight, you're actually getting the best version of that easiest opponent because he's going to be all jacked up because you picked him, thinking that you're going to walk all over him, right?
Absolutely, and you're 100% right with that assumption. I would give you that right off the bat, and that's true. And that's what I'm saying. It's never going to be just an easy fight for a multitude of reasons, one that you just mentioned. So I don't even like the idea that they could pick their own opponents, because I would, like I said, my goal in that whole tournament would be to get to the finals and fight the best. And the course along that way, you gotta see. You don't want to injure your hand. You don't want to get a bruised rib. You don't want to get cuts. You don't want to this and that. So, how much thought process do you really go into? Well, which is the better fighter for me? Do I want a boxer? Do I want a puncher? Do I want this? Do I want that? I don't like the idea to choose my opponent. I would just say, put me in the ring with whoever and let me win. Let me beat him. That's my assumption. That's my thought.
Well,
I don't want to pick anybody.
I think it's a pretty wild twist that they're throwing in here. That they're going to seed the guy. Because I was wondering, who's going to pick. And when I first was seeing, the committee's going to pick the match, and I'm saying, oh God, they're going to have their favorites. They're going to pick who they think, and then all of a sudden they come out and they say, well, the top seeds are going to pick their own opponents. I'm like, oh. So basically they're going to pick the top seeds, whatever it is, either 2 or 4 fighters, and then those guys get to pick their opponents. They'll be in the order in which they're chosen. They get to pick their opponents. So like Coach is saying in the chat room, he says, I'd want to face the toughest while I'm fresh. Well, I mean, assuming you're going to be fresh the whole time, it's not like you're going to fight them. It's not like the prize fighter tournament, which I loved over in England, where you fight the same night. That I like. But this, you're going to be able to get back in shape and prepare for your opponent. You're going to know who your opponent is after your fight. But, I mean, I don't know if that is a smart approach, Coach, because if you pick the baddest ass well, first of all, you got to assume that the other people picking are the top guys with yourself if you made that cut. If you're one of the guys picking your opponent, you're already in the top seed. I would think that you'd have to pick the guy you think that you would have the easiest time with, Sal, and then you're creating an issue where the guy that you just picked is gonna, that's his motivation, that you just picked him, and now you're gonna see the best version of that guy, maybe better than you thought. Maybe I don't know what to think. I think it's pretty interesting, to tell you the truth.
I think it's interesting, but, hey, I got a question, too. I can see what Coach is saying, but the bottom line is, these tournaments, are they going to be weekly? Because you got to, are you going to fight once a month? Is it a year-long tournament? You got 12, you got buys? Is it a 6-month tournament? You got 6 fights? How many fights? How many people in a weight class? And you got to look at all these variables because, hey, when we were fighting in amateurs, 3 rounds or whatever the heck it might be, just to get onto the Golden Gloves or winning a championship there, you could fight 2 fights in a day, 3 fights in a day, this and that. But you're looking at, are you going to fight 10 rounds one morning and then fight 10 rounds at night? No, you're not going to do that. So that's what I'm saying. If it's a weekly elimination or a monthly elimination, hey, I know after a 10-round fight, if it's 10 rounds, there's been some times where your whole body feels like a headache, and you gotta at least rest for a day or two, and soak in a tub or soak your hands if they're hurt. So I can't see this being, if they're 10-round fights, once a week fights. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
No,
I'd like to know more information.
No, they're not going to be once a week fights. I mean,
no, I know rules, that. I'm just saying, but are they going to be 10-round fights?
Well, the same rules apply. Even though it's a tournament, the same rules are going to apply. If there's a knockdown or a cut, they have to allow for suspensions. Well, obviously, I think it's a single elimination. So if you get knocked out, you're not going to be coming back.
You're not coming back tomorrow.
But a lot of commissions, if you sustain a serious cut, or even if you get knocked down, I'll tell you right now, if you win the fight and you get knocked down a couple of times in that fight and sustain a cut, but then you come back and win, most reputable commissions will still issue some time where you got to take off. You'll have a suspension that you have to serve, whether it be 30 or 60 days. So I'm sure that Richard Schaefer, who's the lead guy in this, is accounting for that, Sal. I mean, that's just the rules of the sport. And if I'm fighting and I get a serious cut, I want time for that cut to heal. That was one of the things, the tangibles in the prize fighter tournament that I loved so much, because if you got cut and you weren't able to continue, even though you won, you're out. So they had to go in between fights and have a little bit of time to patch them up and get them okay, so that they let them continue. That adds a whole nother flavor to it. Having a tournament the same night. You win, it's 3 rounds. You win, you advance, you fight the next guy. I loved the prize fighter.
That is exciting, and it's a lot of action. It's short bursts. It's great. You don't have much room to make an error. It's funny, Bill, because I used to think about that all the time. Coming from wrestling or fighting in the amateurs with the tournaments and everything else. I used to say, well, too bad professional boxing couldn't be on a league level where you had a team. Each state had a team of champions, or they vie for that position in each weight class, and they face another state, and they do 3-round fights or 4-round fights, and they go on to a world title or worldwide. It would be a different concept, different thing. You want to start the league, Bill? Anyway, it would be interesting. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the whole thing, though, with this big tournament. Could be interesting, though.
I love the tournament. I love it. Hey, listen, we're going to take a break here in a second. I'll give a shout-out. Jose Ribalta, former world heavyweight title challenger, is in the Facebook chat room right now. I'll give a shout-out to my man, Jose. Major League Baseball scores. Diamondbacks beat the Phillies 6-1. Cardinals over the Reds 8-2. The Cubbies beat the Nationals 5-4. Red Sox over the Twins 4-1. Indians over the Rangers 15-9. Yankees keep winning after their little losing streak. They beat the White Sox 6-5. Giants over the Rockies 9-2. And the Angels shut out my second favorite team, the Dodgers, 4-0. So
the Dodgers.
That takes care of that. Hey, Sal, we got a bunch of emails to read, and I'm going to read them as soon as we come back from our break. So we're going to take a short break. I'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad to the Billy C. Show. Left out a word there. Glad you could be with us today. Don't forget about my book, man. Get a copy of it now. Visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. Or just go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. It's a great read. And it's a story of a fighter who was born a slave and actually was forced into fighting, and then eventually won his freedom and went on to become America's first heavyweight champion. And he was the first fighter, the first one of two fighters to fight in the first world title fight. And his place in history is kind of not right. He was screwed when he was alive, and he's still being screwed, all because of the color of his skin. Read my book and help me get history written the correct way. Joining me right now is my man Sal, Rocky Senecola. And Sal, I got a couple of emails. Are you there, Sal?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Now I can. You must have
I'm here. Something. Do you see me?
But,
hey.
I want to give a shout out. I mentioned Jose Ribalta, and he's in the Facebook. He's communicating with us through Facebook, and I just want to mention that he is trying to get a fight with Tyson Fury, and he says Tyson Fury's scared to fight him. So Tyson Fury's calling out all these big names, Anthony Joshua and et cetera, Deontay Wilder. But apparently he's scared to fight Jose Ribalta, and I would think that he would need at least a fight before he got in. And it's not like Ribalta's a spring chicken anymore. I mean, if Jose wants to fight and he's willing to fight, Tyson Fury needs to fight somebody before he jumps right in with a top contender. So, hey, give Jose a shot.
Absolutely.
Every time
I
think of Jose Ribalta, man, and I think of his fight with Mike Tyson, and I remember looking at him going, man, the guy's got a back like the size of a sheet of plywood. A big guy, I thought. Always thought of Jose Ribalta. But anyway, we got them talking. I will say this, in our chat room up on BillyCBoxing.com, Kevin is in there right now, Sal, convincing Coach. He's making Coach an offer he can't refuse. And the offer is, my man Kevin is saying, hey, Coach, I'll drive. Let's go down to St. Simon's for the event in August. I'll drive if you come. Hey, how can you say no to that, Sal? How can Coach say no to that?
That's an offer he can't refuse. Forget about it.
Listen, all I could say to Coach is lace up your work boots, because he's always wearing work boots all the time. Lace them up, get in the car with Kevin, and come on down, right?
Absolutely. We're going to have a blast. And we're going to have a good time, and great food and good times. And
we shouldn't even really be talking about it yet. But the truth of the matter is, we are doing a special event, golf outing. We're going to watch the fights. We're going to have a meet and greet. We're going to have food. You can finally eat at Sal's. It's going to be a fun time for all. So we'll be talking about that. And it's going to be at the CPOM. So check that out. Anyway, got some emails. Let's get these out the way. First one's from Jesse. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal. He says, Billy, I think the Horn versus Manny is a bogus fight. Does Horn have a shot against Manny? Yes, he's got a shot. But no, Horn didn't deserve or earn this shot against Manny Pacquiao. Even if he beats Manny, that doesn't mean he's a top fighter. Not until he beats other guys like Garcia, Porter, Thurman, etc. Horn is like Conor McGregor. The only way he beats Manny is on a one shot. Landing one shot, I guess he means, but not boxing-wise. He says, Billy, do you consider Conor and Horn top boxers? if they beat Floyd and Manny. He says, I don't. If they are so great, do you really see Horn and Conor beating other guys like Thurman, Triple G, Canelo, Porter, Garcia, Spence, Crawford, etc.? If Conor and Horn see themselves and say they're so great, they're not made for boxing. History, like Manny and Floyd's history, to where they come from and guys they beat, I cannot see Horn being a superstar like Arum mentions. And he goes ahead and quotes what I read earlier. He says, Arum also said that he watched Horn train. He says, this is a joke comment. My prediction is Horn versus Manny is just a money grabber to maybe promote the upcoming Floyd win over Conor. Manny will call Floyd out after he beats Horn, and Floyd will accept the challenge after he beats Conor. Basically, Floyd and Manny are promoting their upcoming fights to generate even more money for them to fight each other. Possibly, first and foremost, to answer the main question, I guess, from this email, is do I think that if Manny loses to Jeff Horn and if Conor McGregor beats Floyd Mayweather, does that make them immediately good fighters or great fighters? I would have to agree and say no, but here's the thing. A win is a win is a win. You know, if Conor McGregor beats Floyd Mayweather, let's start with that. If he beats Floyd Mayweather, which I don't give him even a mustard seed chance in a 1,000-acre field of grass. Whoa, what an analogy that was. Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? I was going to say a mustard
but,
seed in a pint-sized jar of Goulden.
Yeah, something. I don't know, but yeah, that's a good one. But I don't give.
I like it though.
Yeah,
bro.
it's a good one. It just came to me. But it just came to me. I don't know. But if Conor McGregor beats Floyd Mayweather, it'll be the biggest upset in sports history, really. And where does Conor McGregor go from there? Well, I will tell you this. Anywhere he wants, because he will be able to land a fight against any of the top guys. He will instantly be worth a lot of money and demand a lot of money. But I don't see it happening. If Jeff Horn beats Manny Pacquiao, Jeff Horn will become an instant star too. But the naysayers and the Pacquiao fans are going to say, well, he was done. He was spent. Manny was past his prime. Listen, I think both Conor McGregor and Jeff Horn are both in win-win situations. I think even if they lose, they win. What's your thoughts, Sal?
Well, yeah. I mean, Conor McGregor, he wins. I mean, that's going to upset the apple cart, if you will. I don't know what kind of analogy I can make, but he'll be known as a big spoiler. I don't know. I just can't picture it and see it, but of course he'll reign through MMA, and I just don't see him having that success as a boxer long term. I don't know. And I don't think he would probably get through Mayweather to begin with, but if he did, there's a lot of punchers, a lot of people out there, a lot of styles that could probably give him trouble in any situation. I don't know. And Jeff Horn's got a chance, and he always would be one to be considered a top draw if he gets past Manny, and all of a sudden he's a dragon slayer, if you will. And but that's unlikely too. And then I could see a showdown between Jeff Horn and
Conor McGregor. Well, I tell you what, I don't give either one of them much of a chance, but I think that Jeff Horn has more of a chance of beating Manny Pacquiao than Conor McGregor has of beating Floyd Mayweather. I mean, I will say that.
I agree.
Floyd Mayweather. Listen. The bottom line is boxers that have boxed for their life have tried, even brawlers who have been boxing for their life have fought Floyd Mayweather, and none of them can land a solid punch on Floyd. What makes people think that Conor McGregor, who's never fought boxing, who's a lunge at, he runs out of gas in MMA, what makes people think that he stands even a remote chance, even with a lucky shot? I've seen the video of him sparring You know, I've seen him hold his hand. He has no defense. I'm telling you right now, Floyd Mayweather, who can't crack an egg, who probably couldn't even knock me or you out right now at our ripe old age, is going to knock out Conor McGregor. I'm telling you that he's going to knock out Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is going to be so exhausted that Floyd Mayweather is going to probably blow some of his bad breath on him and knock him out with a breath blow. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Conor's not finishing that fight on his feet.
No, and I'll tell you what, it'd be, if we're talking on a Monday morning or post fight, and we see something, we're gonna have to be eating crow. I doubt that's gonna happen. I mean, why? I believe they are giving him a chance out of hell. I don't know. I mean, thinking all I could see, Bill, is this guy charging like a bull, putting his hands up, wading through punches, not caring, and just boom, boom, trying to get him in a corner, if you will, and bully him, and probably, I don't know. That's the only thing I could see. And Mayweather's not going to really give him that opportunity, because Mayweather's going to be pedaling. Mayweather's going to be in distance enough to throw that jab and some combinations. And he knows that that's probably the only thing that Conor McGregor is going to do is charge him like a bull.
Of course.
And that's
Listen,
it. I don't know.
If the fight goes 5 or 6 rounds, the first handful of rounds is going to be pretty. I'll tell you how it's going to go, so you can save your $100.
I want to hear it.
The way it's going to go is Conor's going to do exactly what you said. He's going to come running across that ring at Floyd.
Like a bull. He's going to come out.
And Floyd, like a matador, is going to, control the ring. He's going to move around. He's going to be on his feet. And McGregor's going to be chasing him like a primitive caveman. And Floyd's going to be avoiding punches, and he's going to be biding his time. And all the while, Conor's going to be running out of gas, emptying in his gas tank. And by the 4th or 5th round, that's when Floyd might start throwing a couple of punches. I'm telling you, Floyd's not even going to need to throw a punch in the first 3 or 4 rounds. But once Conor starts to tire, you're going to see Floyd picking his shots. He'll start leading with his jab. He'll start counter-punching because Conor will have slowed down, and his wide punches will be even wider, and Floyd will begin to break him down. And then finally, because of the exhaustion factor, Conor McGregor will barely be able to make it out of his corner in between rounds, and then Floyd's going to knock him out. He's going to accumulate some punches, might bust him up, might cut him, and I'm seeing Floyd win this fight by knockout, whether it be a complete KO or a TKO, or I wouldn't even be surprised if Conor McGregor ends up quitting on his stool because he's so exhausted between a later round. I don't see this guy going 12 rounds or even 10. I don't even know. Is it 10 or 12 rounds, this fight?
I don't know. We should research that.
You know what? It doesn't matter. It's not even a real fight. Let me read another email. Before we keep talking about this. Joel,
go ahead.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm just going to say, the I've got this image. You said it in caveman-like style that Conor McGregor is going to be charging after Mayweather. Now, let's say he's lucky enough to use his hands and literally keep Mayweather in a corner and take his free hand and just throw wild punches. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but that's the only offense I see this guy having any chance of connecting any punches. Mayweather's not going to give him that opportunity unless he can charge a corner, put him in a corner, and just bash away. It just blows my mind.
Listen. If the guy can land one of the Captain Caveman punches, all right. If he can land one of them, maybe he catches Floyd, on the temple. And Floyd loses his equilibrium. I mean, if you want to give, also, it may be able to snow in the middle of August in upstate New York. It may. I mean, it's possible, but very unlikely, but it is possible. So anybody that's grasping to the hopes that McGregor's going to knock out Floyd, I've had people say, you don't know, Conor McGregor is all about stand-up and everything else. And Let me read this next email because it kind of ties into what you were saying to me off air yesterday about MMA. If you remember what you were saying about what you thought of MMA, and my man Joel sends me a email, and he says, "Hey Billy C, here's a 55-second video of a finish of the Sunday's UFC fight." So you can see the fight, so you can respond to my email. And the email says, "Hey, Bill, there was a free UFC card this past Sunday night that I watched. I was wondering if you saw the controversy at the end of the main event. Kevin Lee had Michael Chesna in a rear naked choke.
I watched that fight, Bill.
They did
have when I saw it.
They did have clothes on, but I guess
and the referee stopped it.
No, all right, yeah. Let me. He says, however, Chiesa never tapped out or passed out, and the referee Mario Yamanowski stopped the bout in favor of Kevin Lee, just on the basis he thought that Lee had the chokehold in deep enough that there was no way to get out of it. He says, I guess. However, when he stopped the fight, Chiesa was absolutely stunned. He was completely alert and very upset at Yamanowski, saying that he wasn't out and he was totally alert. He clearly looked fine. It was a shame that in combat sports, two of the biggest problems that can never go away, premature stoppages and bad judges' scores. Do you and Sal think this is something we can ever fix? Well, first of all, before I comment on the fight itself, and I did watch it, is that
Me too.
The truth of the matter is I think now judges is one thing. I believe that judging, we need it's a simple fix. If everybody knows what the judging criteria is, but what we don't know is the order in which specific judges score that criteria. Some may put more emphasis on total punches thrown and landed, giving a fighter the same amount of points, so to speak, if they're landing jab after jab after jab, whereas other judges will say, well, this guy jabbed them for 2 minutes and 50 seconds of a 3-minute round, but then the other fighter landed a savage shot that rocked the guy that jabbed him for 2 minutes and 50 seconds of the round, and he gives the round to that guy for the big punch. As long as the judges have an order, like which is the most important down to the least important of the criteria, then I think we would see a lot more scorecards that I think the public would accept. Now, as far as premature stoppages, that's a tough one to fix, as you would say, Joel. And the reason is because a premature stoppage, although the fans and the fighters get upset, at least the fighters go on to fight another day. A late stoppage or a stoppage that wasn't stopped in time causes more damage, not only for the referee who waited too long, but for the fighter itself. So there's an injury factor here that you have to consider. One of the things was when I was involved with a sanctioning body, they told their judges, it's better to stop a fight too early than too late. So I don't think that is really something that is broken. I think that it's just a judgment call, and it's all based on the referee. Some referees might stop a fight quicker than others. I just wish that more referees let the fighters fight. Now, as far as the fight itself, what do I think about the stoppage? Well, it didn't seem like he was, and I wasn't, the referee is kneeling right there. He's looking right at the guy. So he might have seen his eyes rolling back in his head. I saw the guy bleeding. He was clearly down. He was in a chokehold. It didn't look like he could get out. His arm was free, but it was kind of hanging there. I don't know, Sal.
The guy had a scissor around his waist the whole time, squeezing his abdomen, I think, and probably hurting his ability to oxygenate his muscles. I don't know, Bill. I just, in all due respect to Joel and all the millions of MMA fans out there, I just don't like it. I just don't get it.
Well, I don't like the ground, and then the guy, I look at UFC sort of as a cross between wrestling and WWE. I mean, the way they jump around and they're in the cage. I mean, it is what it is. I always the reason why when people always ask me how come I never got into MMA. Well, there's two reasons. One, when somebody sent me when I was watching it one time, somebody said, "Oh, here's an MMA thing," and I started watching this fight, and I forget who the guys were, but this guy gets knocked out. I mean, it was a clear shot, and you see the replay, and he's out cold as he's falling backwards. His hands are to his side. He falls, and he's laying there on his back, out cold. And the fighter that knocked him out climbs up onto the cage and comes down and gives him a shot right in the face. Then the referee comes over and waves it off. And it was a legal blow. And I'm saying to myself, this is what you watch in wrestling when they come down and, they actually don't land on the guy, and they give him the old elbow to the chin, and I'm saying to myself, oh my God. This guy was clearly out. What was the need to come down and give him that extra shot? And it reminded me of my second thing, about Tom Molyneux. And, my book, during the research of my book, which took me 7 years, the one thing that, as barbaric as boxing was during Tom Molyneux's time, there were 3 rules. One, when you were knocked down, that was the end of the round. So that could have been 10 seconds or 10 hours. As soon as a fighter hit the ground, that was the end of the round. The second rule was you couldn't gouge out someone's eye. And the third rule was you weren't allowed to hit a guy when he's down. That's it. You could do anything else in the most barbaric version of boxing ever. And you fast forward to MMA, and you're allowed to hit a guy when he's down. I'm sorry. I just couldn't get into it, Sal.
Well, down and defenseless. So, it's because you could be down, but you're still able to defend yourself and use your hand. But this guy seemed to be defenseless, the experience you had. Yeah, and that's just it. I just never got into it for a multitude of reasons. And like I said, it has its place for some fans and stuff, and I applaud them, and that's it. But I'll never be a fan.
Nah, I mean, listen, I'm not opposed. I'm
not opposed to it, but I'm just never going to be a fan of it. I'm not going to go seek it out to watch. Even though I did the other night because I wanted to see. I was clicking through the channel. I came across that fight, and I said, you know what? Let me see. Let me get it. Let me see what Joel and everybody wants to see with this fight. And I was looking at it. Well, nah, it's not me. I can't do this.
I've called several MMA fights, ringside commentating. And some of them are exciting, and some are very hard to call. One of the first ones I ever did, Alex Perpali and I called one, and there was these two guys were like leg locked, laying in front of us, and we're looking at each other like, "What do you say?" I mean, they were doing nothing. They were just, I don't know. Let me read another email before I put foot in mouth. This one. Is from my man Jeffrey from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and the title, the subject of this says Rigondeaux cheap shot. He says, Billy, why I believe that Rigondeaux's knockout shot was a cheap shot. He says, I understand that the school of thought that says in the process of throwing a punch, and you're supposed to protect yourself at all times. Unfortunately, neither of these applies to the ending of Rigondeaux's latest knockout/no contest. First, protect yourself at all times means to maintain your readiness throughout the extent of the official time in each and every round. When a round or a fight ends, it certainly is not placed upon the fighter to maintain this posture just in case a fighter loses control or throws a cheap shot. I'm going to stop right there because it most certainly does, Jeff. There's been many cases in the sport of boxing that that's the exact reason they say protect yourself at all times. Not everyone hears the bell. There's times when people thought they hear like a 10-second warning and they stop fighting. You're supposed to protect yourself at all times until the referee is turning both of you around the head to your respective corners. There's also been times when fighters have attacked other fighters even in between rounds. So the protect yourself at all times basically is saying this is a combat type sport. It's a sport that the object is to render your opponent unconscious. Protect yourself. Talk to my man Marlon Starling. He was a world title holder, got clearly knocked out after the bell. It was reviewed, and the commission in New Jersey overruled the decision, which was initially a knockout, and said no, it was after the bell, ruled it a no contest. But the WBA, I believe it was the WBA, let the other guy keep the title. So, I mean, yes, protect yourself at all times means exactly what it sounds like. It doesn't mean to stop protecting yourself after the bell, because these types of things happen, whether they're on purpose or totally by accident. You do have to protect yourself at all times. Don't forget, in boxing, there's been guys that at the handshake before the first bell have suckered punched each other in the past. So, no, you protect yourself at all times. From the time you enter that ring, be ready for something. Just ask Jose Uzugai, who's standing after the fight, and a corner man comes up and sucker punches him. Should he have been expecting that? Absolutely not. But protect yourself at all times. It's a dangerous sport. He says, secondly, when two fighters are exchanging blows in steady action, a case may be made for the in the process defense. But let's look at the series before the final blow. Not much was going on in round one. I actually completely disagreed with the commentators. The kid was the aggressor throughout, and Rigo was using his too familiar move, waiting to use his counterpunch options. How this wins rounds, I'll never know. Rigo knowingly cuffed this young man, and after handing an effective uppercut in this posture, decided why not continue the process and land a few more. The referee should have intervened at that moment and deducted a point for a clear violation. He did not. So Rigo figured, why not throw one last punch while in close and inside those long arms, clearly after the bell. He says, like Ward, I figured Rigondeaux would eventually land some big counters on his charging opponent and win the fight. But just because you can feel a tide changing, you can't excuse blatant fouls in the process. Ward was marching towards a win, but his frequent low blows should have been addressed. Rigo has speed and power, but his series of fight-ending punches began and ended with blatant fouls. In my eyes, he was taking advantage after blatantly fouling. This can only be termed a cheap shot. I respect your opinion, Jeff, 100%, and I appreciate the email. But in that particular case, I don't think it was a cheap shot. I do think it happened in the heat of battle. A lot of times, I don't know if you've ever fought, especially in front of a big crowd, but a lot of times you don't hear the bell. You're totally focused on your opponent. I believe if anyone is at fault, the majority of the fault has to fall on Vic Draculage, the referee. He should have been, the 10-second warning is really there for the referee to get in position, and some states have a 5-second warning. It's there for the referee to get in position to make sure the fighters know the round has ended. He waited too long, and yes, they were in the middle of an exchange. Rigondeaux and his opponent were both throwing punches, right at the bell, and Rigondeaux was already in motion. Yes, the punch landed, found its target after the bell sounded, but I think that it was clearly not intentional. He was responding to another punch. Do I think the no contest decision was justified? I think that's better than having the fight, having Rigondeaux disqualified. I would have left it as a KO or made it a no decision. What's your thoughts, Sal?
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I think that would probably be the more appropriate thing, and would be less tedious. And I think you're right on with that.
Yeah, you do have to protect yourself at all times.
You do have to protect yourself at all times. That's what they say. And it's a shame that it happened, and but you do have to protect yourself at all times. You should be ready
That's
for
right.
the unexpected.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm ready for right now, Sal.
Coffee?
No, yeah, well, but a commercial break. We got to take a break, man. It flew by, so don't go nowhere. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
This message is for all Americans that owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS. Look, I know you want to keep ignoring those letters, but the problem isn't going away. It's really stressful, and you don't know where to turn.
The good news is you have rights, and we can help resolve your IRS problems.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, our qualified CPAs, tax negotiators, and support staff know the law and know how to get your situation under control legally and permanently.
Call the number on your screen now and we will contact the IRS on your behalf, help you end wage garnishments, stop collection calls, remove tax liens, get rid of IRS and state tax penalties, and reduce the amount you owe if you qualify. You wouldn't go to fix your car without going to a mechanic, so why face the IRS without an experienced company that can help you?
Let us take the stress of back taxes and the IRS off your shoulders so you can spend time on the important things in your life, like your family or your business. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, call now and find out how we can help you.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could join us. We got some emails we're finishing up here. And I got the last one right now, Sal. And this one's from a fairly new listener, Ian Murray, writing to us from, I guess, Scotland. He says, hey, Billy C, I've just stumbled upon your show, and it's a great listen. Thanks. You know, for anybody that has just stumbled on the show, keep in mind we've been doing this show for 14 years, and it's evolved. We have quite a history of the show and its beginnings and everything. And you know, we've had over the years some great interviews with a lot of different fighters. Today, I especially enjoyed doing interviews with guys when they were just starting out, when we started our show. And then watch these guys develop into world champions like Danny Garcia and, Guillermo Rigondeaux. And Yuriorkis Gamboa, when he first defected here, we had an interview with him and an interpreter. So, we had some great interviews in the past, and I am going to work on trying to put them all together in some kind of a way that you can listen to them, because some of them, I mean, everybody, we've had Sugar Ray Leonard on the show. We used to have Manny Stewart on a regular basis. I've had Tyson Fury. The only main names I haven't had, I've never had Floyd Mayweather, which I'm sure if you're listening to this show, you can understand why. I never had Mike Tyson, and I've never had Oscar De La Hoya, but I've had a lot of the other big names all on the show. I've even had some other people like Tony Danza on, and Danny Bonaducci when he was fighting in those celebrity fights and stuff like that. So we've had some. I had Snooki on. I even had Snooki on when she was promoting in New Jersey. So yeah, we've had quite the list of guests on the show. But anyway, Ian says, I've only been listening to your show for a few weeks, so forgive me if you've already covered this, but what is your take on Joe Calzaghe's career, and what British fighters have you enjoyed? And he signs it, Ian, the Scottish listener. Well, first of all, I'll tell you, we have a lot of Scottish listeners, and we have a big following in the UK in general, and we're really appreciative of all you guys. And I guess you haven't heard my take on Joe Calzaghe, and I hope you continue to listen to the show, Ian, because I was never a big fan of Joe Calzaghe, and I think he was a bit overrated. Yes, he finally fought some big names at the end of his career, but I really felt that he should have fought some of the big names earlier. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He did walk away undefeated, which is hard to do in this business. But my overall take was I thought he was a very good fighter, not a great fighter. And I thought that most of his opposition were homegrown. He spent most of his career on your side of the pond. And I think he's a bit overrated, and this is even after me giving him a chance and let his career sink in. As far as other Brits, I give Lennox Lewis. I was never a big fan of Lennox Lewis while he was fighting, but since he retired, and when I gave him more of a chance for his career to settle in my mindset, I realized that he was a great fighter. He changed the complexion of the heavyweight division, and he also did something that I respect immensely with fighters, and that's when they retire, they stay retired. So Lennox Lewis has a Brit that has moved up. I love Anthony Joshua. I mean, there's no question about Anthony Joshua. And if you're new to the show, Ian, you probably haven't heard me say, I believe that the UK carries boxing on their back. I think if it wasn't for the UK boxing scene, boxing wouldn't be as popular as it is today. A lot of great fighters out of England and the whole UK, and I love the fact that they fight each other. I love the fact that they make the big fights, and I especially love the fans over in the UK and how supportive they are. What can you add to that, Sal?
I think you said it all. I mean, the UK has always performed and always been there in the boxing mix. And, when it has been slow here, we usually watch in the competitive fights, and the fighters out there, they're relentless. They're really good, and they fight each other, and you cannot say anything negative about the fanfare and about the way the fans support their athletes, and it's just tremendous, and it's a great display, and I definitely enjoy every fighter from the UK.
And I forgot an important one, a current fighter. I love Kell Brook. Kell Brook
yes.
is a quality fighter, and I mean, if you can't respect Kell Brook, you're not a boxing fan. But hey, speaking of boxing, there's a fight on tonight, toe-to-toe Tuesdays. It's going to put the main event is actually a pretty interesting matchup. Alex Martin against Miguel Cruz. Now, this is a rematch. These two guys had fought before, and Miguel Cruz, and the last time they fought actually was in the beginning of this year in January, and Miguel Cruz won a very close and controversial split decision over 10 rounds. They're fighting a rematch tonight on Fox Sports. So this is one that is going to be worth it. Now, these aren't world champions or anything like that. They're both young fighters, and I think that that's what interests me more. So I'll give you a little breakdown on this fight. Miguel Cruz, he won the first fight between these two. Like I said, the fight took place January 13th of this year. Won a 10-round split decision. He is 26 years old. He's ranked at number 96 in the world by the computer in the welterweight division. He's an inch taller, a year younger, and has an inch longer reach than his opponent. His last 4 fights have all been against good opposition. Beginning a couple of years ago against Virgil Green, he was 11-3, stopped him, won a split decision. 8-round split decision over Sam Figueroa in May of 2016. He was 10-0. He fought Alex Martin this year in January, who was 13-0, won a 10-round split decision, and won his last fight against an 11-3 Ali Mamadov, who he won a 4th-round disqualification. So although his last 4 fights have been with good opposition, they're all somewhat flaky, the decisions. 2 split decisions, a DQ, and the only decisive one was 2 years ago against Virgil Green. He has 5 of his 15 fights were against opponents with losing records, which by today's standards is pretty good. The combined record of all 15 opponents he's faced is also pretty impressive. 104 wins, 87 losses, and 6 draws. Generally today, when you see a young fighter, 25 years old, he's 26, you see these guys against big-time losing record opponents. Not the case with Miguel Cruz. And he weighed in for this fight yesterday, 145.8 pounds. His last fight against Ali Mamadov, he weighed 148, and he weighed 146 when he fought Alex Martin the first time. Now, Alex Martin, he is a year older. He's 27 years old. He's ranked at number 126th by the computer in the welterweight division. He's an inch shorter, and he's got an 1 inch shorter reach. He hasn't fought since his last fight against Miguel Cruz, so he didn't get that fight in between like Cruz did. But his last 3 opponents were also very good. In February of 2016, he fought Rosenberg Gomez, who was 17-4, won an 8-round decision, won a 8-round split decision against very talented Juan Carlos Abreu, who was 19 wins, 2 losses, and a draw when he fought him. And then his last fight down in Florida was the split decision 10-round loss to Miguel Cruz. Now, he's fought 14 times, and 9 of his 14 fighters had losing records. His combined record of his 14 opponents, 99 wins, 92 losses, 11 draws. Now, he does have combined winning opponents, but the thing that stood out for me was all the draws of his opponents, which usually tells me that the opponents are a lot better than their record may indicate. Draws generally mean they won the fight and they were in the hometown of the other fighter, especially if the draw is on a record of a guy that's a 500 record or less. So, and he weighed in 146.4 pounds, weighed 146 3/4 in the last fight. How do I see this one going? Well, it's a tough one. Alex Martin is a southpaw. He's got 73 rounds under his belt, 13-1 with 5 knockouts. Miguel Cruz, he's got 61 rounds under his belt, but that's because he knocks out his opponents more. He's 15-0 with 11 knockouts. I think this is going to be a highly competitive fight, but I'm going with Miguel Cruz. I think Cruz's activity, since he fought in between, and the fact that he's got a little more pop behind his punch, I think that he's going to win the fight. I'm picking Miguel Cruz in this one. Sal, I'm not going to ask you for your prediction because I know I didn't give you a chance to really break it down, but what's your thoughts on 2 young guns facing each other a second time?
Well, I think it's good, and they're going to put on a good show. I am picking Miguel Cruz as well, and I think it's good. It's good.
Well, sounds good. I didn't want to put you on the
That's
spot,
good.
but you got your official. You gave me official prediction, so that's all is good. It's good. It's good. Like Sal said, it's good. It's good. It's
I
good.
tell you, I
my
want
pizza,
Miguel
it's good.
Cruz. I think he's going to win.
He's going to cruise to a victory. Is that what you're saying? Miguel Cruz is going to cruise to a victory. All right. Well, hey,
and he's not going to be a cruiserweight.
Yeah, no, not to be confused with a cruiserweight. He's just going to cruise to victory, and we'll be talking about that fight on tomorrow's show. But on this day, June 27th, in 1987, Matthew Hilton wins a 15-round decision over Buster Drayton to win the IBF World Junior Middleweight title. It took place in Montreal. I remember watching that fight. That fight was on TV, and I'm pretty sure it was on during the day. I'm remembering that.
So. I think I remember watching that fight. I fought his brother, Davey Hilton.
Yeah, Dave Hilton, too, the Hilton brothers. There was a third one, too, wasn't there? Was there three brothers?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he managed a hotel.
Yeah, I think he went out with Paris a little bit. But anyway, on this day, June 27th in 1999, and you know what? Everybody hated Paris Hilton, but I thought she was attractive.
Whatever happened to her?
She's married and happy now. I don't know. I don't know if she's doing porn.
She's still a little dog?
Yeah. But on this day in 1999, Lakva Sim knocks out Takanori Hakayama in the fifth round to win the WBA junior lightweight title. That took place in Japan. Sure, you're not surprised about that. On this day in 1902, Joe Gans, one of the greatest fighters ever, knocks out, and I love the nickname of this guy, knocks out George Elbows McFadden in the third round.
Elbows McFadden. Yeah. I knew him from the old
school,
days,
right? You knew him from high school, right? Didn't you go to high school with him? Yeah, this fight took place in 1902. Yeah, Elbows McFadden in the third round. Gans knocks him out to retain his world lightweight title, and that took place in San Francisco, California. And finally, on this day,
you're a funny guy.
On this day, June 27th in 1914, one of my favorite all-time great fighters, and one of the best fighters ever to lace on a pair of gloves, Jack Johnson, wins a 20-round decision over Frank Moran to retain the world heavyweight title, and that took place on this day, June 27th in 1914 in Paris, France. The fight took place in France on this day. And I loved Jack Johnson. I wish I could go back in time to watch one of his fights, Sal, but I guess I can't. So I'm going to take a look at this, But it must have been very exciting for you to see him ringside. That's all I'm saying,
I'm telling you, you should have seen this massive guy. What he used to do, destroy his opponents.
I could imagine. I wish I could. I wish I could have been there with you, but anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing we can do is just that. Imagine.
Hey, listen, you guys make sure you tune in. We're going to have a busy show scheduled for tomorrow. We got our Blast from the Past, which is going to feature James Braddock, the Cinderella Man. We also scheduled to have my man Larry Hazard on. We'll get his thoughts on a bunch of things. And then we'll be talking more boxing. Don't forget, if you take the time to send us an email, I'll take the time to read it on air. So just send it to Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. And jot down how you're watching or listening to our show. We're curious to find out where everybody is, because we're all over the place now, and it's nice to hear where you're from. But I will tell you this. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.